and ethics. Okay. So first I will introduce our respected speaker for the day, and then we can start with the session. In case of any kind of hindrance in your audio and other thing, please let us know. Okay. So today's guest speaker is Mr. Shobhik Dhor. He's an assistant professor at School of Legal Studies in Noida University. It's in West Bengal. So he has qualified both his UGC NET and West Bengal SET examinations. He is also pursuing PhD in law. Amidst varied academic experiences, he has previously worked as guest lecturer at Department of Law, University of Calcutta. He has also worked as a research investigator, Center for Child Rights in NUJS, West Bengal NUJS, in a UNICEF project on evaluation of POSCO Act 2012 in West Bengal. He has published several articles in reputed journals and also had contribution in edited books. He has recently authored certain books on law relating to immoral trafficking, then understanding law, which is useful for the engineering management and other courses, a book on local self-government, including panchayat administration, a book on legal method, legal language and legal writing, then on media law, professional ethics, accountancy for lawyers and bar bench relation. This is the other one. Legal research methodology. And lastly, drafting, pleading, and conveyancing. So his major areas of research and interest is on health law, criminal law, corporate law, and human rights law. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. You can start with the session.
Thank you. And am I audible now?
Yes, yes. You're audible, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me on this important day, which is Advocacy Day, which is celebrated for the broad anniversary of Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first president of India, and also the first president of the Constituent Assembly. So it is an important day for the legal fraternity overall. And few days back, we have celebrated the Constitution Day. And Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the president of that Constituent Assembly, which drafted the Constitution. And for every profession, we have some guidelines that what we should do, what we should not do. The Constitution of India is the most important document for the people of India. And you can see that our preamble starts with "We, the people of India." It is the gift to ourselves. So it has laid down what we should do and what we should not do. And for every profession, there are certain guidelines for police officers, for army personnel and doctors. For lawyers also, we have certain guidelines. We have Advocacy Act, then Bar Council rules. Today, we will not discuss with the rules or the laws today. Today, we will discuss something about the practical application, what we should do in the court, what we should do in the chamber. Because when we talk about the lawyer or when we talk about the advocate, our responsibility is not only with our profession, our responsibility is also with our human being. Before becoming a good advocate or good lawyer, you should be a good human being. That's what my senior has told to me during my practice days. Before entering into the academics, I have practiced for 5 years in Calcutta High Court, Consumer Forum, and I have come across with several senior advocates. I have come across with eminent judges. But every time I entered, I was in a talk with them, they always said that after 3 years of LLB, after 5 years of LLB, your actual struggle starts. What you should do and what you should not do, you should learn from the court itself. It is not a simple bookish knowledge. It should be very much practical. You should learn from your surroundings, what is happening. Because end of the day, it is not our professional duty. We have to deal with lots of things. We have to deal with we have to deal with the social aspects. We have to deal with the psychological aspects. We have to sometimes we have to act like a counselor more than a lawyer. We have to act like a counselor. There are a lot of things we should do as an advocate. So when you're talking about an advocate's day, it is very important that we should be not only talking about the advocacy, we will be talking about the professionalism and ethics, and that is very much connected with a good being a good human being. So um, uh, entering, before entering into the main topic,
Vinny, please mute yourself.
before entering into the further discussion, I want to talk about a person today. Uh, he was a famous advocate, and later on he became a judge. I am saying in past tense because he has died few years back during COVID days, and he was like a Dronacharya to me, and I was like his Ekalavya because at one point of time when I used to practice under my senior advocate, I have met with him a lot of time, and he has influenced me. He has encouraged me a lot. At that point of time, I have, you can say, learned. I have learned the the process of research. It is not merely the research, and every legal case is like doing a research. Every case when it come when it appears before you, you have to go through lots of cases, lots of judgment. You have to prepare the argument. You have to find out the precedent which will help you in your arguments. So that research is very important, and it helps me in academics also. So when we talk about the research and all these things, it is very much an integral part of our advocacy because there is no shortcut method. When you're talking about the advocacy litigation practice, there is no shortcut method. We have to work really hard. So in that case, if you say I have inspired from that human being, I just want to say his time schedule, and I dedicate this day to that a genius person who somehow left because he was professional, but he was unorganized in his personal life. So I just want to talk about him today. So his time schedule was like he used to be in court from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Then he uh, went to his home. Then he started his private chamber from 9 p.m. till 5 a.m.
किया भी बना लिया फिर भी सुधर नहीं रहा है
Um,
Please mute yourself. Wait, I'll mute call.
Okay, just I was talking about that person. His time schedule was like this. So from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., he used to be in the court, and then he used to be in the practice. Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
So he used to do a lot of research while he used to read a litigation, and his dealing with the client was an very inspirational for us. How he used to deal with the client. He was thoroughly professional. He wrote a lot of books on advocacy. He wrote a lot of books on high court order rules. He practiced so much that somehow he neglected his health. And just a few years back, he was promoted to be the judge of the Calcutta High Court. He was promoted as a judge of Calcutta High Court. But because of his work ethics, as far as law is concerned, ethically, work ethics was good. But somehow he could not balance his life, personal life and professional life. and he passed away so quickly, left for the heavenly abodes very quickly. So when we're talking about the advocacy, we talk about the ethics, we talk about the professionalism. We can learn from our senior advocate that yes, we need to be professional, we need to maintain the ethics, but at a similar time, we need to balance both the life. We need to balance the life of our professionalism, and we need to balance the life of our family life or the personal life. We should not neglect our health. But COVID has taught us that we should not neglect our health for the profession. And again, we should, at the same point, we should be very professional when we are uh, dealing with our duty. So, Advocates Act and Bar Council rules have laid down lots of rules and um, laws that what we should follow. And there is one thing we call that the Seven Lamp of Advocacy, written by the Edward Parry Abbott. So when we talk about the Seven Lamp of Advocacy, he mentions some things that we should follow. Lawyers should have these qualities. So when you talk about the quality, the first quality is about the honesty. Very important for our advocate that we should be very honest with our approach. During practice days, I have seen that there are advocates who used to file a false date. He informed the client that it was a day for appearance or it was a day for petition filing, but he did not appear. It was actually a false date. So we should not be involved in any kind of dishonesty. We should not deceive our client. It should be very honest approach from our side that as far as the client is concerned, they are our everything. I have seen lots of advocates used to do this kind of dishonest act. So we should not be involved in any kind of dishonesty. So the honesty is one of the most important aspects for our lawyers. Next thing, he has said that a lawyer should have the courage. Courage is one of the important perspective of legal duty. When we are working as a lawyer, we have some legal duties, and courage is something which we need. Some cases, there can be lots of unwarranted pressure. There can be different kind of problems, but we should not be bothered by such adversities. We should not be bothered by such adversities. We should have some courage. We have seen lots of cases recently where, because of the courage of the lawyers, the client has got the or the victim has got the justice. So courage is very important aspect as far as the lawyer's duty is concerned. So honesty is one of the important things. Courage is another one, and the next one is the industrious. Just I am saying about that lawyer. I was saying about that lawyer that industrious. It should be very hardworking. You should be very hardworking when you are a lawyer. There is no shortcut process. There is no shortcut way to gain the fame or gain money. So you have to be very industrious. You have to be very hardworking. When we talk about the hardworking, for every for case, there are like issues, and we have to deal with some arguments. So when we have to prepare the arguments, we have to do a lot of research from the perspective of the law. I have seen my senior advocate that to work to find out that one particular judgment for 7 days, 8 days to just uh, help in his argument. So it should be very hardworking. You should be very hardworking. You should be very industrious, and not only for the cases, it will be like law. There are several laws coming out. There are several rules and regulations coming out. So we should be well aware of it. We should be well aware of it. What laws are coming out? What rules are coming out? There are now several websites we can find that what are the laws coming out? What are the regulations coming out? Recently, lots of law has passed on surrogacy, on different kind of um, criminal act. So we have several laws recently passed. So we should all be aware of it, not only about the law, also about the rules and regulation, but bylaws, the application of the law. We are sometimes missing out on that point. In during 5 years of law or the 3 years of law, we study the law. We don't study about the rules. There are certain building rules in the municipal corporation rules. There are several rules and regulations. So we should be well aware, well versed with that laws and regulations, by rules, everything. So we should be hardworking, we should be industrious, because otherwise, there is, I have already said, there is no shortcut approach. And if you have to keep forward from others, so you have to be very industrious, you have to be very hardworking. Otherwise, it is very tough to survive in this field. I have seen lots of people who have talent but could not survive just because of the lack of doing the hard work. So you should be very industrious, you should be very hardworking. Next thing is another important aspect. We call it the wit or the sense of humor. All work, no play will make you dull. So it should be comprised of that humor. You should be very sarcastic. Sometimes I have seen in the court that the advocates passing out sarcastic comment. There was sense of humor. There was sense of humor from the judge. Judge also used to pass some sarcastic comment. So this is very important for you as an advocate to maintain this sense of humor, because you are already in such a, I sometimes say it is a very garbage. When we're talking about the society, we have to deal with some garbage things. We have to deal with some very unwarranted things. And if we try to be influenced by those things, then we cannot survive this thing, because there's so much things if you go with the social aspect. There's so much differences in the caste, differences in the society, differences in the class. So sometimes we educated people try to be judgmental. We should not be judgmental at all. Yes, we have to judge when there is the question of right or wrong, but otherwise we should not be judgmental in that sense. So to keep our sane item, I want to mention that if we need to be in the proper sense, we need to have some funny bones also. We need to have this sense of humor, sense of wit. We, I have seen, I was just talking about that advocate in his chamber when we juniors used to assemble. He used to pass in a personal comment, his sense of humor. There was always some comedy happening in that chamber, because otherwise he would not survive for 8 years or 10 years of chamber and 8 years of court. Because sometimes in some moments you need that humor and need that something which will give more oxygen to survive in this crazy atmosphere. When we go to the court, it is a very crazy, crazy atmosphere. And we will see the same humor or comedy all around the court. What's happening over there? I have recently the lawyers are fighting. The judges, there were some comments were passing to the judges. So there were things which are very comedy in itself. And as a lawyers, we should have this sense of humor also. This is my personal opinion, and this is also opinion of the Edward Abbott Perry, that as an advocate, you should have this sense of humor. Moreover, I want to mean not only by the sense of humor, just the comedy. It should not be very like out of personal grudge. You want to make some demeaning comment. That should not be done. But yes, a friendly banter is always welcome in our profession. We allow it. If you go to the court, there is always a friendly banter is going on. Next, if we talk about the wit, then we also will talk about the eloquence. The advocate is very well known for the eloquence, for his look, for his presentation. We should not be very much casual in approach and one hand, but we should maintain one gravity also. So as a lawyer, we have a duty. We have a duty to give the justice to the society. So in one sense, we should be like we should be a role model for all the people who want to look up to us. Say, this is an advocate, we can go. And from his attitude, we can understand that he's an honest person. He's a very industrious and hard work person. So in one sense, the eloquence matters a lot. We always have seen that if an advocate is well dressed, if an advocate is well dressed, uh, the client approach to that person. And on the other hand, if an advocate is not well dressed, then in that case, a client will not go to that person. So it is very important that we need to be in proper dress. We need to be very well dressed. We need to have that proper dress sense. And one important thing is that uh, when we talk about the eloquence, we need to be in the proper robe. I have seen the judges who have said to leave the court premises to the advocates for not wearing the proper robe, for not in the proper dress. So dressing sense is very important when we talk about the duty of a lawyer. For one of the important aspects that it should be a duty of a lawyer to be proper, well dressed, well maintained, and well attitude. So one of the important aspects of this uh, uh, advocacy profession is to be that we should be very well dressed. Next, I have just said few things a few minutes back that we should not be judgmental. Yes, we should not be judgmental, but we need to judgment few things. What we should judge, what we should judge about the good and the bad. We should judge about the what is the right thing and what is the wrong thing. What we need to balance the society. So on one hand, we are talking about the judgmental. Now, if a client comes to you in a case where you can find that there is no way you can help him out, so will you avoid him case? Avoid his case? No, we will not avoid it. We will try to provide the maximum justice possible. I'm not talking about the absolute justice possible, but the maximum justice possible to that person. We should be like when we're talking about an advocate, the advocate word comes from the advocate. We represent a client before the court of law because he is not aware of the law and is not aware of the process. That's why we represent before the court of law. So the advocate word has come from the word advocate. So we should care, we should advise for that to that person what is right and wrong. So when a client comes before you, first we do a counseling with that client that what things should be done and what things should not be done. How can we proceed with the case? This client dealing is very important. From the very first day when a client comes before to you, you have to be judgmental, like what should be done and what should not be done. Because as an advocate, you are aware of the law and you have to find out what is the exact road, what is the path to the justice, what road we should take. So first day you have to find out that yes, it can be done. So judgmental is in that sense means you have to find out what is the actual process. So so when you are coming when a client is coming to you and you are dealing with that case, it should not be like that. This is a lost case, and I will not take the case. We will be like that. Yes, we can provide you the justice, and the first thing I have said that honesty. So on honesty, so honestly, we will say that what can be done and what should not be done. So being judgmental is not a bad at all from our perspective because sometimes we need to find out what is the right way to do the thing. So for us to be judgmental is our you can say the duty of our profession. Next, we should be have some fellowship. My fellowship means we need to have some uh, someone to look up to. We should be very. There is one thing in the our Advocacy Act also, which and in Bar Council rules also, we should be very much respectful to our senior. We should be not whenever a senior is passing us or whenever a judge is passing by. So in that case, we should show the proper respect. We should maintain this. We can say the decorum till our date that whenever there is a senior advocate or a senior judge, a senior lawyer, we should provide the respect that should be given. Okay, this cannot be said that, oh, he's also an advocate, I am also an advocate, we are on the same bar. No, it cannot do that. Yes, when we are fighting in a legal case or litigation, there are sometimes we need to do the argument. But I have seen the lawyers have come out of that court and then having a cup of tea together. So this fellowship is very important. This bonding is very important with the seniors and the juniors, because at one point of time, you will see that the seniors are actually helping you out to survive in this profession. This fellowship is very important, not only for the profession, for to survive this profession. So when we're talking about the seven lamp of advocacy, just we should not forget these few things: the honesty, the lamp of courage, the lamp of industrious, the lamp of wit, the lamp of eloquence, the lamp of judgment, and the lamp of fellowship. So this seven lamp of advocacy is very important. There is not nowhere mentioned it. Edward Abbott Parry is written in his book about this seven lamp of advocacy. So when we talk about the seven lamp of advocacy, it is very important for us to um, um, understand this aspect. Why we are talking about being industrious? Why we are talking about being hardworking? Why we are talking about that we should be very honest? Why we are talking about being courage? Why we talking about being eloquent? We need to be very maintain a good standard. Why we talking about the sense of humor? So all these things actually make an advocate. If you see an advocate who is not maintaining this hardworking, or is not hardworking, or is not honest at all, in that case you will he will not survive. Somehow he will, someday he will be lagging behind than his friend. So it is very important for an advocate to be honest, for an advocate to be very hardworking, for an advocate to maintain a proper standard, to maintain one attitude which should be acceptable to all. Some our one we're talking about that advocate who passed away. Sorry, who passed away. He used to say that sometimes an advocate should have very thick skin, mota chamra. Why? Because we have to deal with so many things. We need not be all be bothered by those things. Sometimes people will say bad things about us. Sometimes they will throw some gali to you. So in that case, you should not be bothered by all these things. All these things should not be taken, because if you want to survive in that world, in this legal profession, you should let go. You should have it. You should allow to let go something. It should not be like you have to keep the grudges, the personal grudge. It will not help you. Ultimately, it will not help you. So sometimes it is very important for you to survive in this profession. You should have very thick skin. You should not be bothered by all the things said about you. Some people will say bad things behind you, will say good things before you. This happens to not only a lawyer. This happens to any human being. Even in our life, if you want to survive, you cannot be bothered by some unwarranted things, because that is not to be bothered. That is not supposed to be bothered, because it is waste of time. We are wasting some good moments just because of some bad things happening. So in this profession also, we have to maintain this thick skin just to survive. So on this Advocate Day, it is an honor for me to speak on this topic, and to share some things about my senior advocate, to share about the role of advocate as far as Edward Abbott Parry is saying. Before finishing, I just want to say that there are some role of advocates. If you go through the Bar Council rules or the Advocates Act, there are some roles. Like, we should be acting in very dignified manner. We should, whenever you are in the court or in the chamber, we should be very much be dignified in our approach. We should be giving proper respect to the senior lawyers. We should give the proper respect to the judges, and even proper respect to the juniors and colleagues. The respect matters in this profession. If someone is junior, that does not mean I will bully him. So this profession, for the benefit of this profession, we should be very respectful to every people coming around us. It may be the junior, it may be the clerk even. Your clerk should not be like you can say anything to him. So your clerk is very important. You can say the backbone of your legal profession. Your clerk will help you in a lot of manner. I have learned during my practice that I have learned a lot of things from my clerk. So you can see that in this profession, every people have will influence you, will help you, and in that way, we should be respectful to each and every person of them. Next, uh, one important aspect I have just saying that we should be very ethical. So when we are talking about the professionalism and ethical, yes, professionalism we have understood a lot of things, but what about the ethics? For example, you cannot represent, you cannot plead a case before a known person to you. You must have seen several judges have left the case because of recuse. It is called a recuse of the case just because the one of the parties is known to him, or there might be some interest in that case. So to avoid any kind of you can say the future problems and all. So a judge or an advocate should not plead before a known person. Okay, so these things are we should maintain. I have seen um, a judge, an advocate actually, an advocate left the practice of that court because his wife became the judge of that court. So just because his wife became the judge of that court, he left the practice in that court and he used to practice somewhere else. So this kind of ethical approach should be there while you are working as a lawyer. You should not be misusing your position. As a judge, also, you must have seen if there is any kind of interest. We have studied in the administrative law that there is something we call bias. So there should not be something we do there that will count to bias. So as a lawyer, as an ethical approach, we should not be biased. And if I found that there can be the allegation of bias, we should not proceed with that case. In that case, you can leave on the ground of the ethics. Okay, so these are the things you should maintain as a role of a lawyer. Next, just I have said about the honesty. Um, Honesty is one of the important, you can say, the element to be a good lawyer. So I believe in karma, karmic benefit. If you do something bad, it will be affect you. So whenever you in as an advocate also, you should do something good work. In our law, we have seen some legal aid, we have seen the pro bono lawyering, we have seen the public interest litigation. So all these things actually for the benefit of the society, for the people for the people at large. Because whenever MC Mehta, where the advocates who have got the Padma Shri, so you can see the person is actually fighting for the justice, fighting for the society, publish so many papers, so many articles, and then we also fight for the justice. You see the living legend, MC Mehta. When we're talking about MC Mehta, if you say about the honesty, if you say about the courage, if you say about the eloquence, he has everything. He is hardworking. So you have a living legend before you, MC Mehta, who have got Padma Shri just because of his hard work, his um, um, you can say the fight for the society, fight for the justice. So this is one important, you can say, a role model for you to survive in this world. So you have to be very honest in your approach and hardworking in your approach. That's all I want to say about the professionalism and ethics about the advocacy. And I am quite sure that your professors, your senior lawyers who have interned under will be saying a lot of things. But whatever I have understood from my short professional, I mean the litigation experience, that these things should be there. And I must say that even if you want to move into academics or any other profession, after passing out, please practice for a year or two in the court of law, because if you practice in those uh, courts and tribunals, you will understand the value of the life also. It's because that taught you a lot of things. I have learned a lot of things from my course days. Before moving into academics, I have worked for 5 years as a lawyer, and I have learned a lot of things during those 5 years. So I will request all the participants, all the students uh, who have joined this webinar, after passing out, even if you're planning to move into academics or any other profession, please go to the course for 1 or 2 years. It will help you a lot as a human being also. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing life experiences with us, which is most valuable thing, I believe. So for students, I will request you, if you have any queries in regard to your future plans in the litigation field or any other thing, you can ask, sir. You have 5 minutes time to put your questions before the speaker. Suchita Giri, I can see you have raised your hand from a long time. Do you want to ask anything? You want to ask anything? Okay, anyone else who have any query, anything to ask? Okay, so I'll move ahead with the formal vote of thanks. Anyone, if you have any queries, you can afterwards also forward it to me. I will make sure that I get the answer and give it back to you. Okay. So yes, there is a comment I can see. Okay, just thank you for a valuable experience sharing and guidance. Okay, so there is no query, so I'm moving ahead with the vote of thanks. First of all, I would thank you, sir, for joining the session. It was really a very good learning experience. Like for students who have just done internship or in first years have not gone to courts or yet, have clearly got a good picture of the what things we should expect in courts, and basically how to deal with our seniors, how to actually be in best attire, how to have the sense of humor also, because everything is needed to become a professional in this particular field. Each and every bit which sir has mentioned is really a pillar for our growth and our success. He has also mentioned about the seven major points which was mentioned by Edward Pellery. So basically we all have to now concentrate and build our career on these lines. So thank you so much, sir. Uh, in our fraternity, I will just like to thank first of all our president of HBPS, Dr. Rajendra Singh, sir. Then Dr. Usha Mukund ma'am, our director, who gave us this opportunity, this forum to conduct this particular event, and also our guiding light, Dr. Madhura Kalamkar ma'am, our principal ma'am. Also, the other colleagues, most importantly, as Amar Salve sir, our IQAC coordinator, our student coordinator, other members. Thank you all for. Please mute yourself. Okay, I'll just now give the feedback link to all of you. Please fill up your feedback form and only then leave the meeting. Just. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will also want to see the feedback whether I have given a good speech or not. And please let me know.
Definitely, we'll share the feedback.
Help is required. I am ready to help and I am ready to assist also. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
On this important day. Thank you.
Thank you. So the feedback link will be open till 11 o'clock. Please fill up the feedback by then.